Welcome to BleedTV, the podcast for today's best shows and movies. I'm Zach.
I'm Jake.
And I'm Cash.
And tonight we have The Walking Dead. This was episode 2,
The
titled
Damned.
The Damned.
It was directed by somebody we like on this pod.
Yeah, there was a certain director that happens to be a fan of ours, but I think we're way bigger fans of her, you know. That is the amazing Rosemary Rodriguez, and she happens to be on our show tonight.
So stay tuned at the end of the episode.
Bonus interview.
Wish she was here in the living room with us, as they say. But no.
This is a studio. Don't let them fool you, everybody.
Look, the bottom line is when your studio has nothing but couches and tables and laptops,
what else do you need?
It's like a living room.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, let's just call it what it is.
This is on Inside Baseball. We have a state-of-the-art studio we're in right now.
Facility. Yes.
Soundproof, glass everywhere.
As you could tell by our exceptional sound quality.
What? Anyway, yes, Rosemary joins us again. She joined us last season after she did
Sing Me a Song.
Sing Me a Song, and this year she joined us for this. It's Damned, or The Damned, or you want to call it. We're pretty pumped. So listening towards the end, we got her on the phone and had a great chat. She gave us a little inside information about the directing and how the episode went. But as for the episode, what y'all think overall?
Favorite of the season. I stand by it.
2 episodes deep, I guess it's the best. Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. It was just fun, action-packed. Has its normal Walking Dead quirks that you can,
as always,
take a shit on. But you know, I thought this one was closer, you know, to not having flaws in it than some in the past. So I appreciated that. Yeah,
I thought this was one of the closest episodes to a non-head slapper as possible, which that's never possible, it seems like. But this did a really, really good job. What I really like about it, I like that this kind of is broken away from that ugly curse it used to have of the second episode downer. Mm-hmm. You know, it used to be a really bad thing with Walking Dead where you were like, oh, God, the second episode is going to be terrible.
Well, I'll tell you what this episode did for me was it gave me goosebumps and raised my hairs a lot throughout this entire episode. Like, we were talking about, like, a lot of the walking scenes and the close-ups and stuff. For whatever reason, goosebumps all throughout.
Well, was anybody else like I was? Like, I'm waiting on the moment. Yeah. I'm waiting on
Once again, the moment.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just telling y'all
maybe
people.
Maybe it's our preview pod.
Knowing what is kind of expected to happen changes your entire perspective on how you watch the episode, man.
Me and Jake were talking before you got here, and it was like, so were you? He was like, yes. Yes, I was.
I was waiting for half the skull to be exposed.
Oh, yeah.
You know? I mean, come on. Don't
tease us.
Don't tease me like this, you know. But anyway,
so maybe that's why I had goosebumps the whole time without thinking about it.
Oh, trust me, the juices were flowing. I was like, oh, they're going to do it? Are they going to do it? Come on.
And
Jesus.
everybody, if you want to know what we were talking about, God. Lobster bib out.
Lobster bib. Hashtag.
But just go back and listen to our preview pod. It'll put everything into perspective of
or
why
don't.
we're so giddy.
If you don't like spoilers, don't
listen to Jake.
I'm just telling you, it's a different experience watching the show, and to me, it's an improvement. You know, so that's just me. But let's get into the episode itself. Kind of starts off with this kind of like montage of everybody where they are. And
it's a bookend.
Yeah,
we get the close-ups of certain characters, you know, in kind of slow-mo, you know, just cool, you know, well-lit shot. It does the same thing at the end of the episode.
Right.
Just revert, you know, but showing where they are now instead.
And we get to see Daryl's smell coming through the TV. That was pretty cool.
Smell-o-vision?
Yeah.
Once again, grown
like
man.
Everyone else gets
monster.
Yeah, everyone else gets fog. Daryl gets like this green smog coming out through him.
He's looking through his hair yet again.
It's not even a hazy effect on the camera. It's just Daryl.
Yeah.
And the air surrounding him.
An aura.
Yeah.
You know, it's driving me crazy, him looking through his own bangs. That is so irritating to me. You know, when, you know, if you have anything, like I can't even wear, like at my job, I have to wear safety glasses and it makes me insane wearing them. But to have dangly hairs right in front of my eyeballs, like even just looking at it on the TV makes me just cringe and itch and just like,
I mean, as a person with long hair, it's as bad as you think it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's miserable.
It's horrific. At least you wash yours.
Add in the grease or the, you know.
That's the thing, is his is like glued to his cheeks. And
It's like he finished like a 7-hour workout in the sun and it's like, oh, God, it's crusty.
Well, the sad thing is he does not win the award for sweat tastic.
No.
Rick Grimes will throw on a full wet mop head within 2 seconds of a scene.
He dives into a pool.
And the guy he fights at the end.
Yeah,
if you notice, had like full back ring of sweat.
Oh, when I was watching that part, I was like, it's Rick versus Fat Rick. Like, this is exactly how they were dressed in the same clothes.
Let's not call him fat, all right? I think that guy kind of resembled my weight, so let's call him maybe Thicker Rick.
Thicker Rick. Thick Rick. Well, we just want to go Pickle Rick while we're at it.
Rick's a little husky, we'll call it. Big bone Rick.
He's like the little kid at the store.
And then, actually, you know what? I take that back. I take this guy's sweat problem back, because I forgot Rick had him from behind. No pun intended or anything like that. So that was probably just Rick's belly sweat.
Oh, there it is. He showered him without showering.
Yeah, because Rick is funkified. So.
I mean,
He's pretty intense, though. You know, when I concentrate, I sweat. You know what I mean?
What are we concentrating on? Okay.
I got a few things in the chamber I got to come out with, but we'll keep this G-rated.
Well, that's a short concentration. All right, so we immediately go into the setup of the settings. We realize we're broken. This episode breaks into 3 different groups. Quickly gives you those 3 set points. And we get a scene where we get to have a bunch of... This wasn't clear at first, but this is all your saviors, and they have a female leader in this group. And, you know, she starts talking to this one guy and trying to embarrass him.
Lauren, I believe. Is
Lauren.
Something like that. And which is never seen before. Don't recognize her.
Yeah, we didn't get the girl who's Ace shot who killed Tara's girlfriend, right?
No. We have yet to see...
Although there's a girl that looks kind of like her that's
similar.
Yeah, okay.
Not her. That's on the ground shooting and stuff like that. Yeah. Not her, though. I agree
Not
with
her.
you. Not her.
Okay, see, because that's what I was going to ask was that her? Because she did look familiar.
No, it's not. The other girl was very distinctive. But
yeah, this chick's throwing her weight around.
Yeah, exactly. And then, you know, of course, she's doing the radio check. Hey, and all of a sudden, and then she's getting the deaf tone, nobody talking. Finally, she gets one person is like, yeah. And you're like, okay. And then all of a sudden... We get the assault come in. We get the vehicles and the guns are shooting
even before she's presumptive enough to be like, hey, lock everything down.
Right.
Don't let everybody
She knows
up.
something's off. You know. And you had pretty cool, these cars coming in with guns blazing. You know what I mean?
I loved it.
I thought that was
I mean, you're at war. Effect. Like, why wait on anything? You come out.
This is an ambush.
You have the surprise and everything. Just shoot.
And the cars were laid out right. Everything looked like it was well planned out. Like the cars ended up in a good row. There was ways to go back and forth between them.
It was like they've actually rehearsed this a little bit.
Yeah, it was smartly put out. And I like the perspective too. It's like you're sitting at that table working on a gun, and you're looking, and you see the cars coming out shooting at you.
I thought this was a cool shot. You know what I mean? All this shot together, really. I mean, because, you know, when the cars come in, like you say, they kind of create like a phalanx. You got 2 in the front, and then there's like one just back, but it's in the middle of those 2.
Correct. Absolutely.
So it creates a full blind spot all the way across and stuff. So it's pretty cool. And it made it where it was easy to understand the two people battling, like what they were trying to do. Like, you know, you see the Savior's side is like going to try to flank around the side, and they need a way out. And then you see on the other ones, they're like having to push out from the inside, you know what I mean, to keep them from being able to flank and stuff. It's pretty fun to watch. I mean, not just to mention the fact that they're just nonstop letting off rounds.
Oh, yeah.
There's more ammunition shot in these scenes in this ambush than most of the rest of the entire last season.
Granted, they all fire like stormtroopers because they can't hit shit for a lot of it. I mean, we're talking, what are we talking here? 30 feet?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's the other thing. Like, I love the shots, but then when you get to see the perspective, like you're first person, and you realize that person is maybe 25 feet away,
and he's shooting at somebody else,
and you're shooting, I'm like, how do you miss that melon at 25 feet when you've just capped off an entire magazine? Now, the only thing about these shots that was driving me nuts like that, you rarely saw somebody drop a mag and put a new one in. You did see it a few times.
But I mean, there was enough cutting off screen to where I wasn't really bothered by it.
Right, I get you that. But I'm going to tell you right now, Aaron needed to have like a duffel bag of ammunition for as many times as he stood up and dropped 30 rounds like it was hot.
I mean, he just needed like one of those old...
he just needed
was it the LA bank robbery where they had the 100 drum rounds?
The drum clips.
That's what he needed.
The North Hollywood shootout.
Yeah.
And
Heat style.
Exactly. I mean, there was like a couple things like that. Like,
But I agree with you. But like Cash is kind of saying, they did a lot of cutting and editing and stuff like that to make it where like that wasn't the focus.
It wasn't. And I'll tell you what, instead of going back and forth like the episode did, because it did a lot of jump here, jump there.
We can just do
Let's do
group by
one
group.
group. Let's talk about this one since we're already on it. This is Tobin,
Aaron,
Eric, and some other people.
Yeah.
Is what you want to call it.
Well,
The
and
randos.
Laura.
Randos, okay, like that, because the randos are the ones who end up getting shot mostly, you know.
Well, I mean, not a lot of ours get shot.
No, I was surprised. You know, I was happy that we actually had people, because I'll be honest with you, the ratio of who was getting shot and wounded like that was way out of balance in the beginning, and both of them were behind good cover.
Well, at the beginning there was act of surprise though. When the cars pull up, they grease the first 5 people in the front
Right,
line.
and I
And
give
this
you that.
is-
But after that, the ratio was, getting lopsided very much so quickly.
And is this where Rick and Daryl were? Were they with this group, or
You do hear gunfire.
when Rick's fighting Husky Rick?
To me, I felt like they were in the building and these were the people outside of it.
Okay.
That's what I felt like.
That's what I
Because
felt.
they even said, then we'll hit the courtyard.
Correct.
Which is
With
what it seems like
weapons and
they're in.
everything.
Yeah.
Right. So
I
I
just
think this
wasn't-
was the conjunction. So this was technically Rick and group, even though they made it look like 3 separate groups.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? And so on. So I thought that was pretty neat. Again, and so they're back and forth, and occasionally you see somebody fall or die.
Well, and this is where we had my favorite shot and Rosemary's favorite shot of directing it. If you stay on, is this big swooping crane shot, which I thought was a drone coming over from our side all the way into the Saviors.
Giving you full perspective of the entire scene like that. That was pretty good. I do wish that they weren't so close, because when you were seeing these people shoot, and it was just like, I felt like I was doing that arcade game where the gopher pops its head out and you really shouldn't be missing because you're so close. That was the only thing about this. I thought, if you're shooting this many rounds and you're not hitting people effectively or even coming like that, then maybe we need to make the distance a little bit to make that scene a little bit more believable. And I thought that would have been good. That's just my thoughts.
But I will say, it was like 85% of this group are new people with guns.
Mm-hmm.
These are hilltop people,
who are mostly
It's a
used
mixture.
to fighting with sticks.
a mixture of all these other people, because Hilltop and not Alexandria.
Yeah, Alexander.
Yeah.
What's the Kingdom? I mean,
Kingdom.
These people, they're all used to fighting more hand to hand and things like that. So I'll give, I'm saying I'm trying to do better about giving a little bit of leeway on some of these things.
Well, I mean, Hilltop's not even used to fighting.
Yeah, agreed.
Right.
They're defensive.
Well, most of this group is Alexandria. Most of this group is. And
True.
If you
Agreed.
really look at it, this is mostly people who have handled firearms before, had defended a place, but never done an ambush.
Somewhat. Aaron
Right.
and Eric and stuff like that, they're scouts. And of course Rick's group and things like that. But a lot of Rick's group is still back in Alexandria.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like with this mix, I'm giving a little leeway on the accuracy of the shooting.
I got you.
And then some of it's just like, well, we just need a lot of gunfire.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Are we worried that there's any more bullets left in The Walking Dead after this episode?
Evidently, that infinite ammo, you can just click X, Y, up, down, left, right,
Whoa.
and your ammo comes back to you.
It's Grand Theft Auto. Up, down, left, right, X, Y, X, Y, back select.
There you go. So there's that. I thought it was good. I did appreciate that you actually saw vehicles getting bullet holes in them. Like it actually showed the practical effect.
Although
of cars.
nobody was being shot behind those said bullet holes. But baby steps.
There was a car that made a point to make sure you were getting a lot of bullet holes and
Yeah,
effects
it was
on
like
it.
a little red SUV kind
Correct.
of thing.
However, you turn the camera around, you saw very little effect of things hitting the tin that was on the cars.
No, you just saw the tinging again.
Right. And
Sparks, basically.
again, we've addressed this in the previous episode. That sheet metal couldn't stop a sharpened spoon thrown hard enough. Just putting it out there, this is where I would have really, really loved to see like those pieces of tin and car turn into Swiss cheese because as many rounds were fired at people. You know what I mean?
I know what you're saying. I mean, I look at it like, is this corrugated steel or is this tin roofing material?
Right.
Either way, you should still see some holes put in it.
Yeah.
But Maybe it's just more of the corrugated.
Well, I'm just one thing I went back and watched again like that is that you never saw any broken glass. I thought that was something that was interesting. Is that if you have that much gunfire and people are using cars and stuff like that, there really wasn't much any like shattering of glass, holes in windows, anything like that. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I watched this like 2 or 3 times to see. You know, I'm just a detail hog, and I might be picking, you know, but that's something I think is a cool effect you can make to really show the set, the dramatics of that, and so on. Now, of the people on the Alexandria side, you know, your key people, Tobin takes a wound to the shoulder. I'm all right.
Flesh wound.
Home chick takes a breast shot. I'm talking.
And she's toast.
Yeah, there's no way she lives from where that bullet went in. I mean, she's standing up and shooting her single shot, you know.
It's a lung shot at least.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get up from this one. You know, unless you got, you know.
Wrecked that booby. That booby's done.
Yeah, it's complete travesty. You know, and then, of course, the notable other person gets shot, I guess, is Eric.
Was he shot, though? Like, I mean, we didn't see a thing. Like, this was really...
This is the shit that bothers me, is that you see him turn broad face away from a vehicle and just do this spastic shooting in all directions, and then turn back around and he's like, you know, we got 4 seconds of dialogue, and then we look down and all of a sudden his stomach just starts oozing copious amounts of blood.
Well, my thing is that of all the places you would get shot, beneath the chest is the least likely, because everything they're standing behind is almost chest height. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that they chose a gut shot, and the fact that on our preview cast we're aware of some other details, I'm very surprised where they decided to shoot him. Now, I'm sure that's going to lead to the fact that you want the dramatic tension with Aaron having a freak out over this.
You want to have the loss.
And you want Eric to be able to speak to Aaron as he's dying and things like that.
I don't.
Not us.
Yeah.
I'm saying, you know, what the direction the writing is going this way. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because really Eric hasn't had a lot of dialogue on the show.
No.
So maybe they're giving this guy an opportunity to have a good acting moment. You know what I mean?
Look, I mean, I'm sure as an
I
actor...
so want to talk about the comic book comparison here. You know, I don't...
Well, that's what I'm saying. The tension that Cash and I felt constantly...
With all the close-ups and everything. I was like...
Well, I think we can mention this. I mean, we're at that point. I mean, it's not like it's spoiler-esque.
I mean, I think we wait till next week just because... Like, we don't know.
I mean, we need to know because he might...
He might pull out.
Yeah, this is the remix. I think we can tell.
I mean, maybe not.
I'm going to put it out there. The bottom line is this. In the comic book, the reason this scene was so like, I'm licking my chops to see if they're going to do this is that in one of the first skirmishes of this battle is Eric gets half his face blown off. And one of the first fatalities of the
It's like the comic opens up with Eric being domed.
And
it's like, okay.
Aaron turns into the Terminator. You know. And so, to me, based on comic book knowledge, I hate that he got shot in the gut to have this dramatic pop. Not to say he's going to die. For all we know, he gets back, he lives, whatever,
But how badass would it be if they save him and they're like, I think I'm doing better, and as soon as he stands up, just...
Oh, like Saving Private Ryan?
Just
you lucky son of a bitch!
Yeah, just a second later.
Or if he's just begging Aaron to shoot him. And it's just like, look, I don't want to turn.
They show him blast his face off.
Yeah.
With a shotgun. We're going to make sure.
Tobin's walking over there. Wait, here's the knife.
Jesus comes out of nowhere. Let me double check. Double tap.
I'm just saying, like, that was the reason that scene was like, every time that Aaron looks at him and he's by the car, I'm like,
he's dead.
Next time he turns that head around, it's going to look like a canoe.
Yeah.
Or, you know.
I mean, there's a few times where he was just looking at it. I was like, oh, it's just going to come off screen.
I mean, to me, it would have been so much better to see that head just like this, and then you see Aaron, no! And just turn into Rambo, come around the corner and start hosing folks down.
We know they have the effect. I mean, we saw it when they were herding the zombies a few seasons ago when their heads would just pop for no reason, like, you know, water balloons.
Well, not only that, remember who was the guy who was a prisoner and Carol was getting chummy with? Axel. I mean, he's just straight talking, all of a sudden, boom, 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 his skull is in pieces, you know. I mean,
Yes.
We can
it's
do
possible. The amazingness and was
I'm
there.
holding breath for it. That like we still
The
somehow
bottom
get
line
it.
is that you saw they made 4 attempts to show they're making eye contact, and there was worry that one guy was going to die. You know they were doing this for the comic book readers. You
Oh,
knew
yeah.
that people were like,
yeah.
here it is, here it is. Total letdown. There was a gut shot. It was a letdown for me.
Like I at least wanted to be able to see the gut shot, and just the fact that I never noticed.
well, we got
that
to
he was
see a
hit.
boob get shot off. We
Yeah.
can't watch him take a gut shot.
It was pitiful.
Dramatic tension, I guess.
Yeah,
But so, how did y'all
dramatic
feel?
that.
How'd y'all feel about this? Do you think it was strategy or just happenstance that we had a firefight long enough for them to turn?
I'm going to call, wow, that was a long fight. If
Yeah.
we had a guy. Not only that, all right, so I'm going to go ahead and say somebody can turn quick enough because we've gone through this debate that it could be somebody could take 30 seconds, somebody could take several hours, whatever. The problem I had is the one that came over to bite Home Chick's neck, he
left.
looked like he'd been dead for a month. If you went back and looked at him, he had sunken face. It was blue, gray, the whole 9 yards.
Man, I totally didn't even look to pay attention about that. I don't know.
I'm telling you, like, when I was watching, I was like, what the I was like, because the guy on the ground, you can tell he was just freshly shot,
Yeah.
like that, and you saw his eyes open all like that, and then all of a sudden, this Walker, who's dead, like he didn't look waterlogged, he was old, comes around and is the one that chews her neck.
See, I was just too pissed that she allowed him because she was like, "Oh, they just had to wait on
Well,
us."
I thought it was. I didn't mind it because her head was turned the other way, and there was gunfire going on.
Maybe.
and that is a big distraction. I totally get that. But I was happy they went for a neck bite.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like,
No, her
they've been
dying,
soft
like-
in the past. When it comes to like a female death, you really think about it, they've been soft on female death here recently, and we get to sort of get a girl get a boob shut off, and then another one's neck get thrown, eaten out.
Oh, and I mean, it was a nasty tear and everything, but to
Yeah.
me, it was just like
It was
the.
reminiscent of T-Dog.
Oh yeah,
My concern is that this chick can obviously handle her business, and the walker doesn't come right onto her. She does get hands on it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's when you just shove it off, drop kick it, whatever, sweep the leg.
pull your
He just-
Sweet.
I mean, he just
Easy, Daniel Wu.
Daniel San. Daniel Wu.
That's our
actor from Into the Badlands.
from Into the Badlands.
Yeah, but this is clearly a Karate Kid reference. You could have said Johnny.
Touche. You got me on that one.
Mr. Miyagi.
All right, so Home Chick's dead on the ground from a breast shot. I swear, if she's in the next episode, like with a bandage over her right boob, I'm calling total PS. But anyway, Tobin, he's gonna be all right. Eric, status unknown, and so on. And so that's kind of the end of that skirmish. Everybody's pretty much died in that courtyard, minus the 4 or 5 people who still live.
Right.
So let's move on to Carol and company. Or do you want to move on to Morgan and company? What do you want to do?
Well, really, we could still talk Rick and Daryl on this as well.
Or do we,
They're
I think you
upstairs.
just save them for the end of the episode, though, even though they're with the group.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about Pickle Rick and Rick.
I mean, that's fine because we can.
Do you even watch Rick and Morty? I mean, I appreciate you throwing out Pickle Rick, but come on now,
Because Carol and
Ezekiel.
I mean, there's not much to talk about, really.
No, it's more or less they wake up from the Dust Bowl of 2017.
Yeah, but a lot of this is just Ezekiel's king speech.
well, I mean, I
The
don't
sooner
think
we get rid of his king speech,
and he
No.
does it. He does it for a second too.
yeah, he becomes normal. For
Hold
about a
on,
minute.
like I mean, he's LeVar Ball at this point. Like he is trying to speak.
What he is me turning the mute button on whenever he starts to speak. Is what
It's
he
up
is.
there.
I'm just saying, like, I got the whole deal when he's first like that. Like I said last pod, it is getting to the point where like you're beating me with a hammer and I can't take it anymore.
And
My
on this
skull's
day-
about to pop.
I'm fucking done listening to this.
And I'm just like, I want Carol to hit him with the butt of the shotgun and say, if you don't shut the
I mean, she all that is with these facials.
But Carol
expressions.
is our, glimpse into what it feels like because you see her when after he
at me
starts,
like,
she's
what the
just like
I'm following this
he's
lunatic.
fucking mentally
No,
challenged.
your
We're-
confidence is great,
Yeah.
but if you don't shut the
She's like, yeah, but some people are gonna die. But I'm happy. Yeah,
and then
You got a sword, bro.
I'm tired of the cheese ball. I'm not tired of it. I just felt like it was a little much. Was like, protect the king. No, protect yourselves. And I'm
Oh, we
like,
got some badass Jerry head cleaving.
Yeah.
but also,
but like the line. I mean, that's how you opened up him doing the clobber work. I'm just like, oh Jesus,
The what work?
clobber.
clobber.
What the clobber?
Yeah, he took that huge axe and clobbered dude's skull.
What are you clobbering with an axe?
I don't, cleave maybe?
Yeah, chop?
I'm gonna throw this phone.
Behead?
Yeah, I clobber my steak with my fork. And
But also,
I'm gonna just slap the shit out of you.
he's going to clobber you. You better watch out.
don't worry, guys. We'll get him a thesaurus when this is all said and done.
Blow chunks. Anyway,
After watching Jerry do some clobbering with this axe, would you want an axe as your weapon? It's looking highly inefficient.
no,
It's
with that
too
27-pound, you know,
Did you see
clobbering
this
tool.
husky gentleman when he does the one, after the smoke thing? He hits that one guy with like an uppercut swing. I mean, it looks like he's going to pass right out.
Yeah.
I mean, Jerry's had a few too many donuts. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Whoa. It's all, was it cobbler or pie?
Oh, yeah, the peach cobbler or
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
And whatever the king's stash, he's been just
You can
hoarding
make this
it.
into a cobbler
So
too?
I need to ask you a debate. What's heavier, Jerry's axe or Ezekiel's headpiece?
Oh, those dreads. Hands down.
My
That
God.
rug he's throwing around up there.
We just all three had to sit next to each other on a couch to do an interview a second ago, and we were sweating to death. Now, that's embarrassing, I admit, but this poor bastard has to wear this
I'm telling you.
sheep's rug on his
small
head. It's a small animal. Yeah. This is clearly killed 4 mountain goats to make this wig. I mean, this is serious business.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, whatever.
I mean, it's well done. I feel terrible for the guys
I
that
do.
wear it.
You know, when you're in that Georgia sun, I'm just like,
Him
Well,
and
the-
Michonne.
The sweat extreme. Yes,
Yeah,
there's no doubt.
Michonne's got a nice crop cut.
Okay, so the one thing about this little assault here, I was very curious about. This entire skirmish was only for a few people at an outrigger post, not the actual outpost. Did y'all get that same thing?
This was one guy standing at a building.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, 1 or 2 fella right here. I just didn't get that. It
Literally
took a whole
one guy.
posse, to wound somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, there was one guy. He throws some concussive grenade and smokes them all up. And then we find out that the little outbuilding right there is full of walkers. Mm-hmm. Almost like it was planned that way.
Well, like because they had a moat, or was that?
No,
No,
this is a
that's
different
satellite
place.
place.
Different
Yeah.
place. So I don't know. I was a little surprised by like how they decided to play this little outbuilding.
Exactly. Like 1 or 2 guys. I mean, the entire first episode, we were stealth and taking folks out like it's nobody's business. This one guy, I guess, evidently slips up and sees Ezekiel and his crew and he's able to get a grenade off. And,
Yeah, I'm thinking, where's Daryl and Morgan on this guy? They slipped up.
Yeah.
This one wasn't marked off the list, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, like, so I thought that was kind of strange that's the way it was, and of course they wake up and, got dust all over them and they're greasing folks and all that's fine and dandy. But then the rest of the conversation in the woods, again, not on this day and we're heading
Fake it
this
till
way.
you make it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of heavy
Confidence.
lines, of confidence.
Yes and no and yes, and then till yes and no and no, and
Yes and yes.
yes, please stop talking like this before I fucking choke.
So then we have a powwow in the woods about how we're going to win. My confidence. No, we won't lose a person in the ranks. And blah 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 blah. And they're totally setting up the ultimate demise here.
Oh yeah, Ezekiel's going to get somebody killed.
Yeah, I think it's going to be critical.
Jerry.
Well,
Jerry
no,
is dead.
Jerry's just going to die of heart attack or something before battle
Just
even
toting
starts.
that axe all the way through the woods.
Yeah.
He's going to be struggling.
But I do like when like people are wounded and they like find the one like random object in the woods and lean up against it like, oh, this is a good place to bleed. They'll never follow this trail.
I found a white object in the woods and I left a blood trail in the corner of it.
Yeah, let me
Hey,
just.
what was Jerry putting into the ground? Like orange spikes or something?
Okay, it looks like an orange golf ball with an orange tee glued to it. That he just lays.
It
on
was
the
a
ground.
marker of which, like where you've been in the direction.
Yeah, I mean, I know what he was doing, but
Right.
it does look like a golf ball and a tee like attached.
It looked like something you could easily overlook as you're walking around. To me, I don't know.
No,
To me,
bro.
I like the old Morgan break a branch or leave marks on a tree thing, you know.
Oh, so you like to cut yourself when you get a broken? Good place to bleed.
Yeah, I'll just throw a little blood at the spot right here. So you're looking a little pale. Yeah, just marking this trail.
Yeah.
It's a terrible job.
Block, you mark another trail, you become part of it.
Aren't you worried about becoming a walker?
Yeah, really.
There's worse ways to go. Yeah, no.
So of course, you found blood on the leaf, and I was hoping it was glowing like Predator, but it wasn't. And then you get the
if it bleeds, we could kill it.
yeah, really. If Ezekiel says that, I'm good with it.
He could full go Arnold voice. I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
I'd rather Arnold impression than
The King impression.
than Henry the gay.
Dylan, you son of a bitch. Of course, you had the handprint of blood on the tree. The next one, where you got to see the 4 fingers.
Yep. We had like a solid red leaf pointing towards the
All right,
window.
so are we to conclude that the fellow that Shiva decides to have an appetizer on is the fellow who's winning?
That's him. Yep.
Okay, so we, did have the issue of Ezekiel says, there we are. And he runs out of the woods and across this trail and down like that. And I'm like, how did you even see what the?
Save the munitions.
Yeah,
Shiva's fed for the week, boys.
cool. I mean, again, really well done.
They've gotten way better with the tiger.
Yeah.
By the
Yes, they really did.
Until
you do the petting.
the petting was
Until the
bad.
hand turns fuzzy.
Oh,
and I'm
man.
like, oh.
That was bad.
Is this Coachella? Because that tiger's a hologram, bro. Yeah.
But in fairness,
It's a hologram.
they went for it. Game of Thrones.
See you at the party.
Jesus.
Oh,
Now we got
God.
Total Recall.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. That
It was bad.
it was. Put it this way, it wasn't god awful. It just you could totally tell it was CG, and you hate that. But I was appreciative that they kept it consistent. That we didn't sneak a real tiger in there.
Let me
You know
tell
what I'm saying? Like, that would have been worse to me.
Yeah, because they wouldn't pay me enough. I don't even want to stand next to the CG tiger. These people are some brave sons of bitches. I mean,
Yeah.
No, a tiger's okay. My aunt had a tiger, as I've said before,
Jesus, this is.
and so they're not that terrifying.
Family.
But
What kind of trash are we dealing with here?
what do you mean? We
This is
didn't
my
feed
pet
it to
tiger.
zebras.
Okay,
or-
Tyson.
Yeah, really.
This was a great tiger.
Oh, my
He was a
Lord.
family friend.
Oh my god.
But
Yeah, no way.
I mean, I would stand by it. But I mean, how would you like to have been the guard to release Shiva from her cage?
Yeah,
No, I'd be
You need
like,
to watch
about that.
You need to watch
Ezekiel.
the movie Roar. Have you ever heard of that before? But the Hollywood family that had like 17 lions and tigers in their backyard,
well, they're idiots. Why
and in their
Now there's
home.
no longer a family.
yeah.
They were getting mauled in their own homes and stuff. Yeah, it's awful.
There's just one. We had zebras.
All right. So again, Shiva eats the fella, and we have the
Done with this group.
the petting of the fake tiger, and then again more speeches.
What's funny is they had to have something like a green ball with some hair on it that they stuck up there
Yeah.
that he could pet. You know what I mean? It's just like, I'm just gonna rub this big green
ball.
fuzzy thing. It's like, cut! I can't do this. At least put some stripes on it or something.
No.
It's all the wrong color.
Can it
All right,
purr?
we're gonna move away from this. It's bad enough.
Well, hold
Okay?
on. What do we think about him going ahead with the plan, even though they know? Like, we don't have.
Yeah,
the
That's
surprise.
true. We didn't know about that. Like
They
that.
know we're coming.
This is what you call
Bravado,
prequel-
false bravado.
Yeah, this is the prequel to Death that becomes us.
Because I loved a lot of the people's faces. Like, no,
Dude,
I thought-
did you see the old codger in the background? There was an old black guy. I mean, like it looked like the armor was about to cripple him. And I'm like, don't recognize him. But there were some people in the background as extras. These were not soldiers.
No, none of these are.
No, I mean it was.
You remember
not
the
even
number
close.
one man was a dad-botted.
Yeah, I mean, I was just. What I like is when he's doing his speeches, like you don't even see people's facial expressions like changed for encouragement whatsoever.
No.
He's over like, yes, man, da 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 da. And everybody's like, just complete flat
Oh, yeah.
faces, monotone.
some of them were even worried. It's like,
They're
wait,
numb. They're numb to his old English.
I quit listening to him years ago. I'm just here because it's part of the group.
All I hear is clicking noises. Click, 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 click.
Yeah, I think it's the whole deal with him and all his speeches and Carol's expressions and talking back and forth. This was all to set you up for a disaster next episode.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little worried about Carol.
Are they shipping Carol and Ezekiel?
God, no.
I think they're either shipping them or she's dead.
Well, I can't say because of comic knowledge, but Ezekiel is kind of, I'm sure, is interested in somebody, but I don't know how they would twist this, so I don't know.
I don't think that's going to be a possibility. So
yeah, I don't know either.
I think we're either shipping him and Carol, or
I don't think there's any shit.
Daryl's filthy mop to Ezekiel's hairy filthy mop. She's got a thing
Rogue.
for filthy mops.
yeah.
No, I don't think there's any love interest. But our boy Matt, he told us that he felt like this episode gave us a precursor to that a major character was going to die. And, like, he even put on the list of, like, a Carol, a Maggie, a Daryl, or something like that. And I told him, no. Don't think.
I feel like Carol would be the number one
Yeah.
on the block just because.
Of your major characters?
Of a major character. Only because, I mean, what else? You know what I mean?
I mean, realistically, it's almost to the point where
I mean, it's
a major character is. You can't really pick one that is more susceptible than another.
I mean, I think her and Morgan are both pretty susceptible.
I would think you obviously were top two, in my opinion, just because, the bottom line is that both those characters are way been dead in comic book. Way been dead. Okay? And so they're on their own planet. And of course, Daryl is not even a comic book, so he's on his own planet. To me, there's three untouchables right now, and that is Daryl,
Rick,
and Carl. Those right there. And then a close fourth is Michonne. Then fifth is your Maggie, and then it gets real hazy with Carol, Morgan.
I think Maggie's ahead of Michonne just because she's pregnant.
No, I think Maggie's lower on the list because she's pregnant.
Okay.
They don't need no more babies. I didn't like the fact there was another baby at the end of this episode.
Right.
Being baby's bad.
Cold-blooded.
So I mean, like that's my order of importance of where, like, you would to pass any of that hierarchy would be unbelievable.
This show needs its tubes tied.
No
All
more
right, so
babies.
let's be done with that whole situation, and we'll talk about who has the most likely to die at the end. So let's go over to Morgan Jesus Company. Okay. All right. First thing we get there is we realize that they're outside the fenced area, and this is the satellite building we've already taken over once. And I was happy they mentioned that. I was happy, like, we've done it here once before.
Now they have a moat.
Right.
Yep.
Now we have a moat, in which people
Brilliant
are like,
plan.
moat. It's just a fenced-in area with walkers. Brilliant. Like you said, I think it's awesome that they put this little effect in here. I want to know where they found the fence company that was able to come in and do this during the aftermath and the apocalypse, because that fence was professionally done.
They're not very hard to put up.
A cyclone fence.
I'll give them that.
So that was I thought that was a really cool add-on to that. I liked it. It was a daytime shot. The only time we ever saw the satellite place before was at night.
Okay, how tall would you say Morgan is?
5'10", probably
5'9",
average.
maybe 5'8".
Average height person, right?
Yeah, average height.
So what do you think about those upper faces looking down on him? When he's shaking the fence, you know what I mean? There's like some faces here, some faces here.
There was some height discrepancies.
There's a little height discrepancy, like they were climbing on each other almost.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't bother me a whole lot. I know he's under 6 foot because the fence was 6 foot and he didn't even come close to the top bar. So it was just a good height judge. But
you think the fence was 6 foot tall? I think it was taller than that.
Yeah, I'd say 7 or 8.
well, you have a 6 foot fence and then it had the bars with barbed wire and stuff
Did
like
it?
that.
I didn't even remember.
I just
that.
was watching it.
Yeah.
'Cause only reason I know this is at work. We're having to install fence and there's 4 foot, 6 foot, blah blah blah. Anyway,
Okay.
so then there's this conversation of if they know we're coming or if there's gunfire.
There won't be.
Yeah, there won't.
I
be.
don't
We get
die.
Bo Chick.
Yeah. I'm gonna put this out here.
Is she?
She shoots
Link?
2 bolts. Yeah, Link. Legolas. Yes.
Legolas.
I think it was more like Legolas because
Who's the Avenger?
This is Hawkeye.
Yeah.
She shot one in the head and was able to rebolt and put one in there within a second and a half.
I mean, she saw these at the same time.
First off, these are arrows, not bolts.
Yes.
How dare you?
Yeah, it's not Daryl.
You're really screwing this up. But no,
Okay, amateur hour. I get it.
She must have had 2 on the string. She's fucking Robin Hood.
Oh yeah. Oh, she split one.
She was men in tights. She had like a whole
Yeah.
fold out like credit cards. a magazine of arrows.
Magazine.
But clearly, she shot like one of the chain links and split the arrow in half, and then killed both
Stop
of them.
it.
Okay,
Just stop.
but the thing is,
Was she on higher
the
ground?
first and second guy get hit within 1 second.
Yes.
It's-
This was a
it's-
total misfire.
Yeah,
I mean, it's literally like that.
It was a total misfire.
not only that. At what point in time do we think that she went up on a hill or anything? Because we came in flat. It showed us flat. So yet again, she shot this through the fence.
No, it looks. Yeah, it's through the fence. Definitely, it's a flat shot.
Those fences.
So not only that, you shoot an arrow through, put another arrow on it, and shoot again through 2 layers of fence,
That probably aren't
and you
even.
hit them in the dome, both of them. This is what you call grade A bullshit. Okay,
This is Olympics.
The bottom line is the first guy should have dropped. The guy next to him should have had a moment of holy crap, what the, and then look at the person where the shot came from. So you got that 3-second delay, and then maybe as he gets ready to pull the radio up, right through the face, would have been much more accurate and much more believable instead of dose shots within a second.
But even 3 seconds isn't really believable for a bow and arrow.
It's a
like,
hell of a lot better than what
Yeah.
we saw.
This is tough. I wish
It
they would
really
have just
was.
shown another person with a bow and arrow. Then they
Right.
could have been like, okay, on the count of 3. You know what I mean? Or
Right.
as soon as
Way
if
more-
they raise their guns, fire.
But again,
then we're only roasting you for shooting through 2 fences.
show me 2 people that can hit people both in the dome.
Moving target
Yeah,
through 2
walking,
fences.
Yeah, I mean, it
Oh,
just-
no one's making the shot. Like, I mean, it's
That's
just,
what I'm getting at. Like, I think they went for the rule of cool and just completely threw out plausibility, and instead it's just what, you know.
Yeah, this. You know, have you seen the new like videos they keep putting on Facebook? Like, most amazing shot ever, and they just hold you there, and then nothing happens. It's like literally like 3-minute video, and you're just waiting, and then it just shuts off. You're like, you motherfuckers!
they got me again.
Genius! They got me again.
Did I miss it? Let me rewind it a little bit.
Worse than being rickrolled. It's way worse.
I don't know, man. Being Rick rolled. It's
All
pretty
right,
bad.
so we established that the arrows to the head, complete garbage. So again, Morgan and company come in.
And I love
and-
this simplistic, like, let me just shake the fence and be covered up to where they
Yes, I
can't.
thought the plan was a good idea. Way to draw attention, get them to come over to check it out without having to radio or get them in the close
Maybe make some
fire.
wounded animal noises at some point, but besides that, we're good to go.
Once again, I would never put my fingers in that chain
Oh,
link either.
no.
Yeah,
Not even
yeah,
close.
yeah.
Palming. Oh, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
palming that thing.
All right, so how do y'all feel about that? They were lucky enough to find 27 pistols that had silencers on them, and
I'm a fan.
okay, that's cool. And that, I mean, almost everybody's a crack shot. You know,
Yeah.
Crack shot. I mean, these dudes are
I mean,
high level marksmen.
I feel like I'm watching Splinter Cell.
But
it was
you know,
like,
Tara's there.
Yeah.
this is Tara was fine. You know, and of course Morgan was okay.
Well, I mean,
and Bochick, one shot. You know, one arm, one shot at a couple people. You know,
you got to remember, with Tara around, she gives everybody +5 to accuracy. So, like, it's like one of those, like,
she's got a buff.
Accuracy by association.
She's got an accuracy buff.
Yeah. All right. So on social media, there were some people who were griping about how all the guns sounded like the classic Hollywood, you know, or whatever like that. You know, that anybody who actually shoots a real suppressor realizes those 40s and 9mm like that would have made much more sound even with a suppressor.
oh, yeah.
You
Like,
know, I mean, I'm just putting it out there. I don't really care about that. I feel like for that dramatic effect for this stuff to work, I thought it was cooler that they decided to stick with that.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. It didn't bother me. I mean, of
It's
course,
iconic.
there's
We know
people
it
are
now.
like, you know, well, Zach, you're real detail oriented. And I was like, there's some things you just don't want to be truthful because otherwise it doesn't make the scene possible.
yeah, because,
And this is one of those things.
like, suppressor is the correct word, because even with the suppressor on, a gunshot's still really loud.
Yeah, I mean, especially with a big caliber handgun.
Yeah.
I mean, the only gun you're ever going to get a thud, 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 or this, that, or so on, is like a 22. Maybe if you got a really good size silencer, you know, just for hair bigger, 25 or something like that. After that, you're going to know you saw a shot has
I
gone.
mean, a 9mm can be pretty well suppressed.
yeah, but a
it has-
suppressor is about a foot long.
yeah, well, or it's fat.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whatever. I mean, once again, it's kind of a rule of cool type of deal. You're right.
Right.
It does feel like we're on like Metal Gear Solid or something, you know, Splinter Cell. You know,
Right. you
but
know. But it was all right. Everything was
but
within a close enough range to make it realistic enough.
but I like the fact that, like, you know, a lot of times you see people that go into the house and they don't check the left, right, check the
they
door.
don't sweep.
They don't, make themselves turn to face a doorway and things like that. You know what I mean? Like, they really did film this well.
Yes.
Them coming down hallways, leading with the gun. You know what I mean? All this stuff I thought was pretty well done.
It was. It really translated well. Like I said, the entire time they were in the building, I really enjoyed all that stuff. I really, really did. I love that they showcased the guys that were like, I got your back, and one was nervous. I love that they showcased everything.
Nervous.
Morgan was a brave soul. Like, I ain't standing in front of this mother. I just got a Uzi at my back.
Right. I like that they created tension at each doorway.
Mm-hmm.
I like that they had long pauses, like they were waiting for the signal for everybody in the hallway. Instead of them, everybody gets in set and goes, go! Like there was like a good 3 or 4 seconds where like you got a buildup of every door was going to have a surprise behind it.
And it was cool because they were like doing like the fireman chain. You know what I mean? It was like, somebody had their arm up where everybody could see, and it's once they all go down, it was like.
And I honestly had no idea who the leader was.
We could all do it. Yeah, I mean, it would appear that Jesus is because he's the one that actually puts his arm down that starts the chain. But Morgan and Tara look like they're pretty well.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, it was really, really well done. Like, I really enjoyed all the stuff that happened inside this satellite facility. Except a couple of things we'll get to in a minute. But anyway, I love this whole deal. They really created tension. I love it. And like, you get, the Tara and them, they just grease a couple guys, head, and you don't see everybody take a forehead shot either. There are a couple people that take shots to the chest, another guy takes a shot to the face.
I did have a problem with that. Like, I wanted them at least clean up doing headshots.
They did in some, but not in the room to room.
The ones they
quick,
caught off guard, they shot in the head. But the ones that once they started kicking in doors, they were just firing up.
Yeah, like that's what I liked. It was realistic. I was happy that you didn't kick a door in and everybody took a headshot. I liked it. A couple people took body shots and fell.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with that, but I want you to finish them off.
Well, I think they were making to get quick to each door.
You attacked what?
Yeah.
That was John Wick's house.
So you kick in the door with old Shaky.
Oh, yeah.
And I got your back, fella.
Grease the first 3.
Yeah, or like the first guy's the door, and he takes 27 rounds. And then 10 folks come up, and nobody's shooting.
Out of a clown
Morgan.
car.
Yeah. I mean, including Morgan.
Yeah,
and
no one's firing.
Nobody's firing.
And they just light them up.
Well, like, Morgan is completely off to the... Like, he can't even be seen through the door, but he's so far to the right.
Right. And, all right, were y'all surprised that they shot the first guy and froze the second part?
No. Because, like...
Or was that... Some people were like, that was backwards. Like, they should have froze, and maybe Morgan killed the first guy, and then when the second posse came up, they should have just been, like, spraying everything,
I mean,
Some
I
people
could see
thought that was
somebody
backwards.
just be like, oh my God, I just killed somebody. And then just be shocked at...
I agree with
Okay,
you.
Shaky guy, I could see freezing. Morgan, I don't see freezing.
Well, like, my thing with Morgan was, like, he wasn't even really... Couldn't see inside the doorway because he was so far to the right. Like, at least in the camera angle I was looking at, like, the fact that he was even shot, I was like, how?
To me, I felt like you shoot the first guy, and yeah, your 2 guys are probably like, holy crap, right there. But then you have this armada of folks coming behind it, like you said, at the clown car. This is where you're like, shit. And, this is where Morgan probably turns and, I get that. And they all 3 get hit, or you want to call it, or it looks that way. It looks like Morgan takes a wing shot. The other guys just take it full on, nasty.
Although dude's still breathing there when he walks away.
I mean, like, he's got 27 holes in him. And
one of the guys looks like he has one up in his forehead.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And he's just kind of breathing and looking at him. Are we supposed to see he's alive?
I thought at first it just looked like a death stare.
Yeah,
But then when
I saw his
it
chest
turns and
moving.
his neck is breathing and stuff, I was like, oh man, dude didn't say anything. He's just dying right there. Could have greased him one, Morgan.
Yeah, finished him off there.
Yeah.
That
That was those guys. That wasn't me.
Yeah.
Morgan, there's clearly a spatter from this weird side. I don't
Put him out
know.
of his misery.
It wasn't me.
I cleared.
We caught you on camera.
I have to clear.
It's like Shaggy.
All right, so we get over to, of course, you see several doors get kicked in, people get killed like that. But then we get back to Tara and Jesus, and we break into a room which looks like a giant pantry, and we have a fellow they find in the doorway who's got piss in his pants.
Deacon.
Which this has to be discussed beforehand, right? You've got to go in with the plan of we're either killing everybody or we're taking hostages.
This is where I hate Walking Dead writing, because they love to bring the morality thing back into play.
Yeah.
And what I thought was I was happy about later is that you saw Morgan have his flashes after he gets up and becomes T-1000, the Terminator. And he's talking about when we have to kill them all. We can't give them a second chance to regroup and become back. Those flashes were happening. I almost wish that had happened before we even got to the morality question with Jesus and Tara and so on. To me, I was really hoping Tara was like, Jesus goes into a monologue, like mid-speech, just crazy. Yeah. Are you done?
That's what should have happened. Like,
really
as he's speaking. And,
argument over.
Yeah, really. This conversation.
But it has been kind of wishy-washy, because the thing is you get Rick's big speech in the first episode, and it's just like, we kill them. You know what I mean? It's us or them. It's this and that. And then they get to the compound. They're like, surrender, and none of your people have to die. Just you, Negan. You know what I mean? And it's like,
well, I mean, that's
we're supposed to kill.
Well, I just think that was an unfair. Like, that's just a deal he knew he was going to say
turn
no
down.
to.
Yeah, I'm sure, but I'm just.
Well, there
are mixed signals.
Yeah, it's
there are
condescending. But that's the whole deal. Is that and like even Gabriel was like, it's not about you. It's about this. Da da da. Well, then we get Jesus into the mix, and he's like, it can't be about this. It can't be. The whole point is to kill the saviors, and so that this is never an issue.
Well, he's saying it can't be about revenge. We don't do this, and blah blah blah.
Well, there was no revenge. It was the mission would kill every SOB in here.
Well, and not only
to me, I was on Terra camp.
Yeah, I'm fully on Terra camp, because even if you do somehow try to mitigate these people into your group or whatever, you're not going to trust them. You don't have enough people to trust them, so you've either got to give up the hilltop or Alexandria.
We're past the morality point of this.
Exactly,
because they showed no morality. They showed this, that, or so on. Don't bring this in. That was the one thing that killed us about Morgan, is that when we got to meet, Heavyset Sensei about don't kill folks, and we went through the whole
badass.
Yeah, he was
the whole deal of him. I don't kill people, and now he's turned into the Terminator.
Yes,
I mean we've already done the flip flop for him. So now we're dealing with Rick. They got to die, and then we got Jesus. It can't be about that. It can't be about this. So like this whole scene was unnecessary to me. I know there was a good play of, you realize how hard it is to piss my pants and blah, blah, blah.
I mean, there was some good dialogue in here and everything, and stepping on
the dialogue was weak to me.
Because my thing is,
well, I mean,
they picked a couple of people that aren't strong speakers, in my opinion.
Well, not only that, it didn't translate the tension of the room. Like, Jesus doesn't convey, the morality speech to her in a manner that would have made me go, you're right. Let me stop doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
That's where I would just greased him. Are you done?
Him or Tara. Tara is not intimidating to me or anything like that. The way she speaks is not intimidating. So when she comes off like trying to be a badass and stuff, I don't like it. It doesn't sound right. And then Jesus playing this role, I didn't like either. So this was kind of tough, because it's not like it's not shot well and it's not, framed well in the scene and things like that. It's just the writing on this and the two characters they decided to make this debate go on with. I was like, oh man, total miss to me.
Well, no, but here's the deal: if they could have saved this scene, is if after they disarm him,
Jesus greases him.
It greases him.
Yeah.
If they had done that, then that would have saved this scene.
Instead,
keeping him alive was what was like the coup de grace of disaster.
Because we've hogtied him and just left him there like it was a sore, and we never even see the guy again.
Yeah, and so that was where the misfire was, and then it turned into they've got enough people down the hall, and we're shooting up the hallway,
right?
And we turned into that little skirmish, and I'm okay with that.
We did get some Jesus Kung Fu, so we had that.
So then, like I said, this is about the time that Morgan, wakes up, becomes Terminator, and cool that a detail that I enjoyed. We grab another gun.
Yep.
We pull the magazine, check its ammo, put it back in. We actually see a gun run out of ammo. use a different firearm to finish off what you're doing. Like the details were there to make it realistic that he didn't have infinite ammo by pressing up, down, that stuff.
But he did shoot several people that had machine guns, and he left them on their bodies. Never picked up a single one of them.
Yeah, he's always a handgun.
When he picked up the one gun and then picked up the other guy's handgun, I was like, sweet. All right, now grab those machine guns too.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't know how many people are in here.
But also, how are this many people left? Like, wasn't he following a path that had already been cleared?
No,
because they had left the room.
They had left because they thought they were all dead.
Three were dead and went that direction.
Right.
And how they not even check them? Morgan woke up.
Well, if you're hearing gunfire everywhere else, you're not worried about three guys you thought you just greased on the floor.
Yeah, really.
Well, no, I was talking about Tara and stuff because they saw Morgan on the ground.
Yeah, but they couldn't go down that hallway.
Okay.
They couldn't go down because they were firing back down the hall. That's why they went out the back door.
One guy said, we got people missing. And they're like, Morgan? Are you talking about Morgan? Da, 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 da.
Yeah, well, and Terry eventually saw him, I thought, later in the episode.
I never saw him see him. I thought they were on a different hallway at the other end of the chain.
They do look down the hall, and you see three bodies laying in front of the door, but they don't mention the fact that it's Morgan. Or
Okay. So
see, anyway, I thought she knew it was Morgan. I'm like, if I'm Morgan waking up, I'm like, y'all didn't even come back and get me? Like,
so we end up back outside, and Jesus goes, basically, don't fire unless they fire first.
Yeah.
If that's the case, you'll be dead. And it's like, well, I better hope so.
This is the American rules of engagement right here.
Yeah, I mean, like, give me a break.
Yeah.
Again, another not strong,
nope,
unnecessary. I mean, you've gone in there stealth mode, shooting anything and everything.
And now we're worried
hey, wait a minute. They won't shoot me. Trust me. I'm just...
Did we see Jesus shoot anybody in this episode?
No, he did not.
Not that I recall. I know that every time you saw people getting shot, this, that, or so on, you didn't really see him like raising up and pulling the trigger. I have to go back and watch. But no, I don't remember distinctly him raising up and greasing someone.
I just don't know if we need him being the moral high ground. We already have Morgan.
Look, the bottom line is the moral compasses don't last long or become hated characters.
Well, I mean, even, Morgan, of course, coming around, but even Father Gabriel, who was, a mix or whatever like that.
I go all the way back to Dale.
Has totally come back around.
Yeah, I mean, even Dale was like the moral compass you got tired of.
With Dale, though, they didn't face other human beings. They faced walkers.
This is true. I'll give you that. So, again, they come out there. One guy opens up the garage door. They're waiting on him. And he drops his gun. The rest of them, hey, drop him. And they come outside.
Don't seem as stupid as they think we already are or something like that. I don't remember what he says. But
and so they all come out. And... okay, there was a lot of folks. I mean, there's at least 20 of them, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Oh, they could have put up a fight easy.
And the guy that's responsible for Ben, is that his name?
Yes.
Yes. That's the part that I was like, no. I mean, so...
And how stupid is this guy?
Really?
To speak up.
I remember you.
Did you get transferred too? It's like, huh?
Yeah. See, when the Terminator, a.k.a. Morgan, comes out of that and sees this, and, the light kind of blinds him a little bit.
Puts it on his chest.
Yeah. Another example where this episode rocks better if he just greases that MFer there.
Yeah, 100%. Just come out, grease him.
This is a guy with a face that we know now.
Right.
And we know this Deacon character that's pissed himself. So it's like, now we have two known people in this group of captives, right?
Correct.
That are already hated now. And then Rick and Daryl have their own problems, obviously. And then I'm trying to think if there was any bad guys. No faced bad guys that we know of. No. But they're going towards another camp if you're Carol and Ezekiel.
Well, see, here's the thing. In the comic book, there was no prisoners.
Yeah, because
that's the other thing is that this was a real shock that we went to the morality and we're keeping captives.
There's no.
Do you ever trust anyone in this group to ever say, now you're part of our group?
Watch my back for me, will ya?
I mean, are you serious? I mean, really? And do you let them? Do you exile them?
That's what I'm saying.
What are they going to do? Turn around and come back at you? I mean, this is like, it can't be about that. This bull crap. Turn your head around.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much
start dropping folks.
Look at all the flowers.
Yeah,
Carol.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I think there's some flowers over there.
Yeah, really. Let's walk to the fence.
Yeah, can you go pick those real quick?
Learn this from my girl, Carol.
So that's what I'm getting at. Like the idea that we do this is going to end up being disastrous. Okay, and so that's this is where your writing of how they're going about this is just like, oh my God, I'm scratching my head.
Well, I mean, maybe I'm hoping that Rick outranks Maggie and is like, yeah, we got to dome them. Like, it's plain and simple. This is war. They're dead.
All I can hope is Tara completely redeems herself. They put them all in the back of a cargo truck as they're going along. She just, oops, I dropped this grenade. Body parts everywhere. Just yes.
I am surprised that there's no like improvised explosive devices that Alexandria people make or anybody makes. You know what I mean? Like, you would think there'd be
some
a
kind
lot
of booby traps
more.
Or anything that's kind of,
Well, I mean,
or
just some kind of grenade-esque
grenade-esque things that you would tote around.
pipe bombs.
Yeah.
I mean, how hard, even in this time, after the apocalypse, you can go get pipes, put caps on them, and find fuse. You could make some cool stuff.
Definitely, like,
Or
household chemicals.
Yeah, not only that, really cool Molotovs, or like this, and throw something,
Well, you don't want to waste gasoline or good booze.
Or kerosene. I mean, come on, whatever.
But I'm just saying, like, I'm just surprised because, hell, there's one anarchist cookbook laying around here somewhere, you know what I mean? Like, or whatever. Or somebody just is a redneck and knows how to blow shit up. It's like, yeah, man.
Well, Rosita knows how to do it all, though.
Just take this and put it together.
While she's sitting there sulking with her bandage, she could be thinking about homemade pipe bombs.
Yeah.
Your girl, she got just the perfect amount of airtime for you.
Yeah. So anyway, let's close it up with Rick and Daryl. So we're feeling like we're in the building outside of the skirmish, the assault.
They keep working their way to the top floor because they think that's where the guns will be.
Fourth floor. They kept saying the fourth floor.
Which, how do we go from stairs to an elevator shaft? Did anyone else catch this?
He goes, look, stairs, and then kicks the door.
And then all of a sudden we're in an elevator shaft.
And then we're climbing an
I
elevator
think this was
shaft.
a little bit of a miss on the editing, I'm guessing.
Has to be.
Maybe there was another part.
Rosemary.
Rosemary told us that they had to add a little scene somewhere in this neighborhood right here.
Well, the scene that was added
it was the Jesus and
Tara.
Well, she also talked about they came back and shot him looking at the map, or the piece of paper.
True.
Him kicking the door in. So like maybe there was a oops moment there. Maybe we didn't get it
he
off.
clearly says, "Look,
The
stairs,"
and kicks down a door.
I know it.
and then kicks a door, not an elevator door,
Hey,
a door.
I was proud that it took more than one kick, because if he just kicked it and watched the door frame explode into timber bits,
Oh, it would have
Like fucking
easy.
Chuck Norris.
Yeah, it just like a million toothpicks on the ground. I don't want that, but so I was happy with that. Again, you're right. He does say stairs, and kicks the door twice. It opens up, and then all of a sudden we get the whole we're opening the door and we're crawling up through. And you didn't crawl up 4 flights of the elevator. And you know what I mean?
And
so
also,
put that out there.
Opening up an elevator door, I don't know if anyone's ever had to do it. I have.
It ain't easy.
It's not easy. And doing it with zero leverage after climbing 4 floors.
You mean he couldn't do it with hanging from one arm?
Yeah.
He's not Rambo.
He was grease power. Daryl Hulk.
You won't like me when I'm greasy.
Grab rope.
I caught that. Anyway, we get past the mysterious stair/elevator shaft.
Here's the secret. I'm always greasy.
Get the rope. Why would I need rope?
Okay, so they split up after climbing out of the elevator.
We can clear this faster if we split up, which is like the classic, don't you ever do that in a horror movie scene, don't ever split up, And this was even brought up by some of our fans, on social media, talking about as soon as that you separate, there's a bad situation about to go down.
Definitely.
And of course, and I get that, and it's just the classic faux pas writing. I'm 100%. So again, we see clearing rooms, and we'll talk about Daryl first. And Daryl ends up finding an area where they kept a prisoner similar to the way he was kept.
Yep.
Good
old.
There was a sandwich on the ground.
With one bite out of it.
I mean, like my homeboy could have eaten.
Total waste.
Yeah, I mean,
Daryl, you've eaten worse, obviously.
Yeah.
The handcuff was pretty nasty. Like it was, held onto a person for a long
Probably
time.
reminded him of his brother.
And the no link.
No, really. You remember?
Yeah,
he was handcuffed.
Yes, I remember.
And the no link handcuffs. That's brutal.
Yeah, and then So all that was like that, and that was just kind of the end of his little deal. But then we get Rick, and after we've searched the 27th room on the 4th floor,
but badass shot right here. I
Yes.
love him coming down the hallway.
yes,
This is awesome.
the silhouette, the lighting behind it. It was my favorite part. Like, it just stuck out from the episode.
Yeah.
Did you notice the door at the end of the hallway? The doors were missing. Like somebody had pulled the pins, so the doors weren't in the shot. Did y'all see that?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. Why did somebody pull the doors off the hinges in there? I don't know. I don't know if it was for dramatic effect.
I didn't notice it, so I don't know.
Anyway, he comes in the first room and he gets attacked by Pickle Rick, or
Husky Rick,
as we like to say. Very similar in structure and size, like that. They get into a bit of a fight. I thought the fight choreograph was good. I didn't.
This is another good, brutal fight. I like this.
There wasn't nobody blocking shots and doing counter moves and leg sweeps and
this was
everything
a very
else. He was very two grown men who really are not really fighters but getting after it.
It was a natural fight. That's the best way to put it.
Kind of a bar fight.
Yeah, it was realistic. Did you notice the guy when he got kicked and he went backwards onto a desk or table? He had this huge black back brace. His shirt kind of opened up, and you see this black back brace.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So where he hits the table perfectly, he's got this big back brace.
Padding on the back, probably.
It just you miss it on editing. It just stuck out like a sore thumb.
I didn't see it. Yeah.
Anyway, so then he comes back at him, and there's choking and the wall. But I really, 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 really liked that it showed them destroy the shelf.
Yes.
With Rick,
Showed him destroy the shelf, and then had the hooks in the background.
You just were enough where you were like, opportunity.
Opportunity. But they didn't focus on it where you thought, oh, they'll definitely use that spike on the wall.
Yeah, because there's nothing worse than a director who's showing the fight, and all of a sudden you focus in on the spikes in the wall, and then come back to the fight. I'm like, no!
Finish him pops up on the screen.
Chekhov's hook.
Yeah,
it's not Chekhov's gun. You know what I mean? It's just excellent job and excellent camera angle where you could just see him on the wall barely, and he's there. Why didn't he just put him to sleep, choke him to sleep, or choke him to death?
I was kind
because
of
we're here to kill everybody.
Because he's doing this number.
That's why. Because
he's doing this. War. He's slapping them and stuff like that to try to.
Well, I know from watching somebody it can take somebody anywhere from a good 30 seconds to a minute before you become completely incapacitated.
But he was going down.
All right, I'm with you. But this is Pickle Rick. This is a big fella now.
This is Rick the Savage, really, though, because he just.
But yes, but the ability to be able to whip somebody around and throw them into this shelf,
perfect heart shot too,
and to go completely through the body and through the spine. This is where I'm like,
screw it. This was too cool.
It was so cool. But I just wish somebody would take the effort of moving that thing over 2 inches to the left, where there's nothing that would impede that from going through all the way through. Does that make sense?
Or you just get a Rick charge in the lower back.
If it was dead center, it was through the sternum and the spinal column. If it was 2 inches to the left, it misses the sternum and it goes right through the back with no issue and completely plausible. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, a minor detail. But I'll be honest with you, the way the scene unfolded was great.
And I loved it because he was like, where are the guns? And he says no guns, and he's obviously looking at a room, and he goes, they're in there, and then you feel the dad freak out.
Uh-huh.
This is, my wife, I always call it she gets mom face, you know what I mean? Where she has a freak out moment.
Your parental instinct turns into your overlord.
Animal instinct,
right.
You know what I mean?
Right, there's no doubt.
And then he goes apeshit on him.
Yeah, and then he slings him into it and he kills him, and then when he drops him down the ground and he opens his shirt up and it says "Grace be God," and I was like, okay, I rewound this because I was like, okay, what does this mean? You know what I mean? And so on, and he's checking. So when he opens that up and you see Gracie on the wall and this baby sleeping,
animal painteds everywhere.
Yeah, great job to whoever this artist just out of nowhere. It's like, hey,
I just damn. It was tough, man.
Another baby.
Yeah.
But this is one of the cooler, dramatic moments I remember from the show.
Mm-hmm.
Because Rick clearly knows he's in the same position as that guy was.
Yeah.
And would have done the same thing.
The mirror was perfect. He's just like, welcome, look at yourself.
I mean, it's a bit too coincidental, but...
Agreed. But the thing is...
It wasn't slap you in the face coincidental. You had to think about it, and then when it becomes apparent why you're looking into the mirror, it really translated well. It was just really well put together.
Right. The only problem is that we've been through this with Rick a few times.
Correct.
Where he's going to question his savagery.
Well, the other part of this too is that baby in there, that's 17 years difference than his child. You know, his child is almost fully grown.
True, we got a crazy.
She can almost drive a vehicle, a car now. Yeah. I mean, we're to that point with you.
No, I mean, not almost. Like she's driving Michonne around.
Right. I mean, it's unreal. But anyway, so that was pretty tough. What really threw me is the next part. Is that I thought that would be kind of the end of that situation. You know, like there is no guns. And the end of this is him coming back to morality. So for him to go into another room and to find this picture. Now, he says a name, and it ain't Morales. It's somebody else when he picks this picture up. I thought he said Emmett.
No, he says, damn.
No, I swear. He goes, that's Emmett. And then he turns around, and of course, there's Morales looking at him.
No, I swear he says like "damn" or something like that when he like shakes his head. I don't think he says any name.
I could have swore he said Emmett. If y'all heard or know for sure, let us know.
Give us a tweet.
Yeah, because I'm almost positive. I rewound it twice. I was like, "What is he talking about?" Because I kept trying to look at the picture. I tried to look at the picture. You know, it wasn't enough to like.
You just see a woman on one side of the
photo.
That's
all you do, but it's not detailed enough to really know. And I don't remember an Emmett. If it was Emmett, if he did say that,
right. Was
the guy that got bit in the chest they left by the tree in season 1? Is there a chance he was an Emmett? I mean, if he is,
no, I don't think he was.
I'd have been like, oh yeah, you know, but I don't know. But all right, so of course Morales is there with a gun on him. Rick is like, holy crap, you're Morales, da 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 da. You know, hey Rick, and he goes, that was a long time ago. And I'm going to bring all the saviors here.
Yeah, I've already called them. They're on their way.
Right. Okay. So basically, you're foobar. But anyway, huge return of a character. People have been talking about this character for 3 or 4 years.
Nice little twist in it. I mean, I don't know if he has anything to do with the comic books or not, but I like that we were able to have someone leave and kind of bring them back organically.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm super pumped they snuck him in here and created this whole deal. Stuff, and I really liked that we had that connection from season 8 all the way back to 1.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the way. I hate that he's a bad guy.
Well, he might not be.
Well, I mean, Rick established that with his first comments of a long time ago. I've already called the bad guys
because he doesn't know what Rick has to offer.
Right?
Maybe potentially.
I mean, if all he hears is the bad shit about Rick, then who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it has potential, but
I mean, there's a good chance Rick can turn him.
Possibly. The jury's still out, though. I'm just kind of like, be honest with you, and correct me if I'm wrong. I might be 1%. I thought in season 1 when he left, they were going to head west look for family.
I don't remember.
If you're in Atlanta. They're in Alexandria, which is northeast.
I mean, he might have gotten captured early on. I mean, I'm sure we're going to figure this all out.
I'm hoping they do a good job next episode of explaining how we got from where we were in Atlanta to where they were going, back all the way to where they are now. You know what I mean? Because he wasn't alone. Now, he had wife and kids and somebody. There was a lot more
like 4
to
or 5 of them.
His little Bronco or SUV they drove off in. So,
or maybe he went north, and we're just thinking he went west.
It's possible. I need to go back and look, but
because they were going to the CDC, and he didn't follow them.
Correct.
So maybe he was going north, not.
Well, yeah. I mean, I really don't know. It's something. I think it's cool they brought him in. I think it's a cool little add to the plot, and so on. I hope he's not just a 2 episodes killed and moved on kind of episode character. I would love for him to be a linchpin, of some type. In the future,
we don't need more people. I'm sorry, I'm fine with the 2-episode offer.
We bring him in, and then 4 episodes on the road, or next half season, he dies horrifically after redeeming himself. Who knows? I mean, whatever. But yeah, I think there's a lot of potential with his character.
Yes,
and I think it'd be cool, and they better do a good job of explaining how he got from point A to point B.
I mean, I'm sure he'll be in Negan's standalone episode.
Right, and so on.
Before we end. They made a deal about this walker that Ezekiel and them come across, and it says what befell that creature.
Correct. Yeah,
Any ideas of what happened to this thing?
To me, it looked like white paint all over him.
Well, it was like melty though.
You're right.
Almost like he was hit with acid or something.
It was a clue to wherever they're going.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, like a chemical plant or something. Because it kind of looked like chemical burns in a way.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible. It just had such a stark white. You know about it?
Agreed.
I don't know. I mean, for all we know, we're going to a paint factory. And he just,
Is it maybe lye?
It's possible.
Like, they
Yeah.
pour it on a body and
Right.
it
That's a good
it
guess.
starts to melt away, but then he wakes up,
For
obviously.
all you know, this guy was an experiment. They were putting something on him to see how it goes or something like that. I think it was a clue there. I don't think anybody would be able to say definitively they got a solid guess, without them giving some clues. But since we kind of wrapped this episode, what do y'all think the predictions are?
Before that, did y'all see them taking the photos this time with the Polaroid with Tara and Jesus?
Yeah, I saw it that time.
Yeah, I saw the Polaroid taking up captives.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're going to use that as...
Make sure you know who's who or something. I don't know.
That's a great idea.
them
You could
to Negan.
do it as an identification, or you
Yeah.
could do it as, here's proof that we have your men and we've taken this place.
Yeah.
Either way, I guess it's good to have this Polaroid. I don't know where they're getting all the film, but
Infinite.
yeah.
Up, down, left, right.
I mean, I can go get it.
God mode.
Even Grand Theft Auto was like, Polaroid?
All right, so predictions for next episode, because the preview was pretty cut and dry that the shit hits the fan for Ezekiel and company.
Yeah, them and for Rick and Daryl, and
Right.
I think it's kind of for everybody, really.
Well, we've had 2 episodes of the good guys kicking ass and taking names. I think we got to have the reverse and show that things also have to be harsh and bleak, and you're going to have setbacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's any of them are total setbacks. I mean, they're going to have problems transporting the new prisoners. Ezekiel and Carol are obviously going to run into an already ready group.
I mean, they're losing double digits.
And Rick and Daryl are getting sieged by
All I know is
saviors.
There's a scene where you see all of them in a group raising their hands in the woods.
Yeah, I saw it. I know what
You
you're
know what I'm
talking
saying? Like, you can't. It's not like you're going to grease all of them right there. So we know that's not going to happen. But you know what I mean. So it's like each group has a collective they've captured.
Yeah.
about. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and this is where I guess you have. We do the big exchange or whatever possible down the road. You think? I'm gonna give you our 20 guys. Give me my 20 guys by.
I don't
Doubtful.
see that happening.
I severely doubt it. too.
Doubtful.
We did not see Negan this episode. We did not see Gabriel this episode. I'm going to guess we're going to get plenty of that next episode. Because, like if we did our preview, they're still surrounded by walkers in their place.
Oh, yeah.
And Negan's still in his camper of love with Gabriel.
Love Shack.
Love Shack.
So there's
Great
a
song.
lot of meat on the bone to go for next episode.
But it doesn't look like it's focusing on Negan and them much next episode.
No.
So
I mean, you keep seeing this scene where he kicks a table, with a bat, and you're like, we're going to kill them all or change something like that. Do we think any major character dies next episode?
Is Eric a major character?
is Jerry a major character?
Close.
The mid-level characters.
Yeah, I'm going
like-
to say you have your primary top 7,
There's
whatever.
core. There's core characters.
Your core characters, your
named characters.
your named characters, and then you have your auxiliaries.
Yeah, and then you have the cannon fire.
Yeah, I think we lose a couple names, and I don't think Carol necessarily dies, but she's in danger.
I think we lose 2 names this next episode.
I'm with you on that. Yeah. Well, I think Eric's a toast.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get the whole very sad, dreadful, slow death,
That's it.
Yeah. Anyway, also, guys, right after this, as soon as we get done, please listen in. We have Rosemary on. We had a phone conversation with her a little bit ago, and we're going to add it to this pod, so don't miss out on that. But guys, we got Rosemary Rodriguez tonight, such acclaimed director of The Tick, The Walking Dead, the former Outsiders.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Such thing as Jessica Jones, and, of course, a recent movie, Silver Skies. Rosemary, thank you so much for being with us tonight, and I just got to ask, how exciting was it to be a part of The Walking Dead again?
Oh, my God. Okay, first of all, it's nice to be talking to you guys again. That's
Thank you.
awesome. Any fans of The Walking Dead, definitely people I want to talk to and, pick their brains and just really excited. So to be back, to do the second episode, of The Walking Dead was super exciting. It was really, really exciting to be at the premiere of the 100th episode and to be at the Greek Theater where there's like, I don't know how many people, like, a few thousand people out there, and then to have the teaser, like, screening, before it was over, before they did The Talking Dead, or at the end of The Talking Dead. Oh, my God. It was like I thought my head was going to explode. It was so much fun.
Oh God! Hold on, I got to wipe the drool away from my mouth for a second. That's just that's ridiculous. Yeah, I lost train of thought when you were talking about all the amazingness. Well, Rosemary, I got to tell you, I'm gonna go ahead and put it out there. We really, really enjoyed the second episode. I thought it was really, really good. Of course, it's probably my favorite episode of the season so far.
Being a little cheeky with it.
But just like last season, your episode was our favorite last year too.
Thank you.
I can only imagine what was the phone call like to be told that you're getting to go back to The Walking Dead?
Well, I think that, to be honest with you, I was just maybe expecting or hoping that it was going to work out. I don't think I was expecting it not to. And that's where I get hurt sometimes if it doesn't happen. Then I'm like devastated. So I kind of came out of last season very happy with how the episode turned out. And so, I was ready to do season 8. That's all I can tell you.
Well, that's awesome. I am curious. They've brought you back again for another action-based episode, and I know type casting, but is there like a type director? I mean, is this what you look for? It's kind of an action set. Do you get any say so in what kind of episode you want to do, or do they just kind of approach you and say, "Hey, we have a really heavy action episode that we'd love for you to direct"?
I don't really know. I mean, I sort of started in TV and action, and I've done a lot of action. I think, the first season 7, I think, was intentional because I was on the show from Jeffrey Dean Morgan, like getting me in the family there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Scott Gimple probably paired it up in a way that I was able to work with Jeffrey on a big Jeffrey episode. This season, I don't know. I have no idea what anyone was thinking. I don't know ahead of time. I get dates like months in advance, and I'm not even sure if the scripts are written or not. But I sort of commit to the dates, and that's how random it could be.
How many days do you get for the episode? Because you were it almost looked like you were working with a bunch of different sets. So was it really rushed or anything?
8 days.
8 days for the whole?
Only 8?
8 days.
Now, let me tell you. Now, we noticed it was broken into 3 different groups. Now, were you in charge of all 3 groups, or did y'all break it up like Game of Thrones does, where you got director doing this one, director over here, and you just
No. It's one episode, one director's to episode. There was a little bit. The episode came in about 2 minutes short because there was so much action. So then Scott added a little bit that I was on another show and wasn't able to direct. So Mike Satrazimas, who's the DP and directs a lot of episodes, he did the extra scene, which involved Tara and Jesus.
Okay.
So that was a scene that was written kind of afterwards.
Now, which scene are we talking about exactly? Are we talking about where they was just those two
contemplating killing the guy?
Yeah, killing the one guy they found?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. That actually kind of makes sense more now that you put it in that context. I could totally see that.
Yeah.
So this episode, was there anything unique about it when you came into this one that was completely different than the past season that you did? Was there something kind of a special experience or anything that cool, unique that some of the listeners
Well, this was the biggest. This episode was the most action-packed script ever, and
oh, it showed.
Really, it was from the beginning all the way through. So, the only scene a little bit where there was a break was with Carol and Ezekiel when they were sort of talking. Other than that, everyone was on the hunt or going at it. So that's a lot. That's a lot to do in 8 days. It doesn't seem like, because when you watch it, it goes very quickly. But that's the tricky part about action. It takes a long time to shoot. But because you need so much footage to cut together to make it seem exciting. So it was, I literally along with the first AD, Casey Caldwell, Mike Satrazemis, who shot it, and the whole crew, and myself, and the actors. But literally, I felt like the three of us particularly, like, I climbed Mount Everest. Like, I felt so accomplished at the end of that episode, because I couldn't believe, at the end of it, the only thing I owed, footage-wise, for that episode was Rick, the insert of the note. When Rick was looking at the note from Dwight, he was standing there when Daryl comes around the corner,
Yes,
and
right.
then they bust the door, and then they climb out of the elevator shaft.
Correct.
That note, that's all they had to shoot. All that I owed was that insert of that note. Everything else was completed in my episode. So I literally felt like I was blown away. It was like going into war. For real. Like, we went into war. We had to strategize. We had to plan. We had to know everyone's move. We had to who was being shot when, where their positions were. I mean, it was intense. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's extremely impressive, because we were impressed with your selection of shots and things. Like, we really loved the Rick,
close-ups.
The Rick coming down the hallway. We love the close-up shots on the faces of the actors. There's the opening scene of they're coming onto the satellite array building. It kind of looks like almost like a drone shot that's sliding with them. Like, we were really impressed. Do you get to pick like all the shot selection, or is it like a cinematographer that you work with, or?
No, it starts with me. I mean, you have to remember, when a director is prepping an episode in television, the DP is shooting an episode. So we have to plan everything before we even get to work with the DP. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
right,
absolutely.
Right.
So we don't even get to have conversation. Like, it's planned. So we have to do it together once we're there. If there's a better way or something and the DP has an idea, of course we'll do it. But when you're going really fast, everyone just kind of has to get on the train that's moving. And you start moving in prep, and then you just take off, and everybody else jumps on, and they just keep going in the same direction. Particularly on a show that's so full of action, it's kind of hard to go back and rethink it. Once you start, you're gone. So that's that's exciting too.
Well, let me just say, like Jake was saying, really enjoyed those shots. I mean, like, you can see nothing against the last season, but there is a distinctive difference in how you approach the episode and how things are going so far this season. That it is really, really appreciative to see that it's not the same stereotypical, I'm 4 foot from the actor, I'm getting a certain profile, different things. Y'all are actually facing somebody who's shooting at you. You're actually getting more of a downward angle shot, or you're getting up, you're seeing nostrils, but it gives you a different perspective.
POV shots.
Yeah, it's just, and exactly, like, you're behind the gun during war. I mean, all those things were really, really well done this episode. And like I said, the silhouette of Rick coming down the hallway, I loved all the cool lighting. I love that y'all kept low light. That was another thing. Like, if you're in a building that doesn't have electricity, I love that the thought and detail were put in place to maintain where it almost looks a little gritty, but it's just a low light shot that really comes off really, really well.
Don't you hate that when things are supposed to be dark and they're lit? They're like,
every shot in the woods at night.
That drives me crazy.
Right, and I mean, even so much better.
I know, every shot in the woods at night. It's true. It's always really bright. I know. It's hard.
Man, the stars are really bright tonight.
Yeah, really. I mean, even so much so that the point of, like, some of the things we harp on in the past is like when you have stealth walkers come out of nowhere right off camera, or this or that. What I thought was really cool this episode is that we had the slow emergence of a gun appear off camera to make it where it actually means somebody tippy-toed or was very silent to get into the scene and create that dramatic effect. Much better than what we've had in the past with a lot of things. And it's just such a bad stereotype for other shows where somebody just randomly appears and it doesn't have any effect or give you anything to bite into to make it realistic. So we really appreciate that.
I'm really happy. I mean, one of the shots that is my favorite shot, again, was planned ahead of time with getting a crane in there, but was executed by the DP, by Mike, like, so well, was the shot. It basically starts wide. It opens the act, I think second or third act, and basically is a big, high shot that just comes down and goes past the cars and into the Savior's world and down into, like, a tight shot on Mora, who's the Savior. And then,
That's funny.
that was one of my favorite shots.
So we were actually talking about this before pod, and I was going to ask you if this was a drone shot because it was right before we got all the close-ups and everything of this battle with Laura and stuff, and I thought it was so unique to see you come in with that swooping shot before we did all of that.
Yeah, that's right. No, that was a crane.
Well, not only that, this was y'all actually kept a real set where in the past when we've had shots similar, there was a ton of CG that were mixed into it, and this one looked like it was just 100% practical effect and set and everything else. Is that accurate?
That is accurate.
Yeah,
that is.
And to me, that carries better on film. And we were, like I said, Cass was like we were talking about that exact shot before we even started.
Oh, it was my favorite shot of the episode, easily.
Well, what's funny is it's like you put guns in actors' hands, and they love it, man. They just like. So what was challenging about it was like trying to pace. Like, okay, it's like at some point you'll have to stop shooting because then it becomes like sniper land. Like we have to be like seeing what's the next person's move. Everything's got to get quiet. Like it's got to be full out, and then it's got to be quiet. And you got to navigate that. And it was really hard to get them to stop shooting because they were having so much fun shooting.
And rightfully so. It looked like they were having a lot of fun. They
were.
But
they all want to look badass. And they do look badass.
They did.
And so last year's was right before the break in the seasons or in the things. And we had talked about how all the early violence in the opener and stuff affected kind of how that episode was filmed. Was it better to have an episode earlier in the season so you didn't have to worry about the violence accumulating too much?
Well, I enjoy having it earlier in the season for some reason. I don't know why. I think because I'm such a fan and I've been waiting for so long. I just end up missing The Walking Dead for so long, waiting for it to come back on.
Amen.
So this is like a double whammy of oh my God, it's back, and it's partly I'm in the family, and so that just makes it more exciting to me than I have to maybe it's better to be okay, it's back, I get to watch it, and then my stuff is coming up.
Yeah,
so,
and it wasn't
right
spoiled
now, I'm
as
just
much.
happy with where it's at. If I did one any later, I wouldn't have had that teaser showing in the Greek theater, and oh my God, that was so exciting. Really.
So,
crazy.
Any chance you were pretty pumped about being the director who gets to reveal the season 1 character Morales?
Yeah, of course.
I mean
I think he kind of leaked it out a little bit ahead of time, and I think that was kind of a bummer. But I was definitely excited about that. Are you kidding? It's oh my, yeah. It's great.
Yeah. That was a big surprise, and we really enjoyed it. And again, really cool little way to end the episode. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought the tension was real. I thought, the way Rick would delivered there, again, the close shots, everything. I thought it was a real way to, smart way to end the episode.
Yeah. No, I really liked it a lot too. I love these actors. They're all amazing. Andy Lincoln they just put their heart and souls into this. It sounds really corny to say that, but they really do. They work so hard.
Did I read it correctly? Because, Rick gets a big surprise when he goes into his upstairs room, but they don't really reveal what Daryl comes across in his room. Is that on purpose?
Well, it's the room. Well, no, it's the room where he was kept. Or someone like him was kept. But he was eating dog food in there, so there's a little.
Okay, I do remember that. I didn't think it was Daryl's room originally. It was somebody like him, right?
Yeah, potentially it's the room, or it's a room where they keep people, where
something similar to what he had to deal with.
Right. Yeah, was Sasha in the same room as Daryl? I don't know, but it's one of those rooms.
Yeah, it's like a
Do you know what I mean?
PTSD or acute PTSD kind of syndrome thing. You kind of get put back in that environment and
a trigger.
Right.
Exactly.
Trigger, perfect word for it.
You were talking about the actors a minute ago. So tell me, I'm very curious. Every actor I'm sure is unique. Everybody has their own unique way of going about things and so on. So who's your class clown of the group of Walking Dead? Who's your Shakespeare who takes stuff very, very serious all the time? Is there some dynamic between these actors, or do you have to prepare differently for different ones on the show?
Well, that's interesting. I mean, I think, I think their personalities are kind of out there already, don't you think? I mean, they really are who they are. So when you see, Andy goofing with Norman and Norman goofing with Jeffrey, and they really are that. That's what they do all the time. And, when you hear them say, look, I've never been on a set where people come by. Like when I did the episode last season, Andy came by the day we were doing the scene with Chandler just to see, hey, how's it going? If there's some intense scene, another one will stop by. Melissa came by one day just to hang out, and she wasn't working that day. I mean, that doesn't happen anywhere.
Well, I mean, let me ask you to refine the question then. Do you have to approach and work with any of them differently based on how they go about their skill set?
Oh, I see. I guess intuitively I probably do. I mean, I think all of them are very intelligent. You sort of have to have a good reason for things. Obviously they know their characters really well.
Yeah, I mean, they've all been playing them.
Specifically, I think probably, some of the newer cast members are still, like, for example, like Kari for Ezekiel, he's still finding that character a little bit more. So you have different kinds of conversations sometimes. Do you know what I mean? Versus with Norman about Daryl or, Melissa about Cal or whatever. So, but other than that, I think they're all, I know, it sounds corny again. I think they're all really open. And they love what they do. And they're always open, at least from my perspective, maybe because they know I love the show and I love them, so they're open. I don't know, but they're always, every one of them is very receptive to chatting about a moment, to talking about where they're going, an idea that I might have, as well as they pitch ideas. And I'm like, yeah, that's great, or maybe it's not, or maybe it's not good because of this. So I find them all to be people that are super collaborative. Which, again, doesn't happen on a show that's been on so many years and has so many iconic characters.
Very true.
They're still open. They still want to, because they're committed to making it better and deeper and better. They really are. And I think as fans, that's what we want, right? We want it to go deeper. We want to go places we haven't been yet.
Oh, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. Well, let me ask you this, Rosemary. I know we talked a lot about The Walking Dead and how much excitement you've had here. For our fans and your fans, which, by the way, is a huge group, I can tell you, because last time we had you on the pod,
you blew up.
Our podcast blew up because I think there's a lot of people who are really inspired by what you do and how you go about it.
Oh, that's nice.
And I just want to tell you, I mean, like, there's no doubt in our mind you're one of the best out there, and we really appreciate that. And what are some of the future projects you've got coming up that you can divulge to let us, so people can understand, and catch on and see what you got going, so you can see your dynamic and what you bring to the table?
Well, a show that I really had a great time on, that's going to start streaming the end of February. Well, the half that I'm in, is The Tick. The Tick was like a half-hour comedy. So much fun. Like, turns the superhero thing on its head. You're working on, with people that are in, blue costumes and, all kinds of crazy stuff with, like, a ton of the opposite of Walking Dead. Like, a ton of visual effects.
Okay.
And it's so much fun. Like, I'm super proud of that episode. I love it because it was just quirky and fun. And I love the superhero stuff, too. So that was a lot of fun. And then I'm right now producer-director on a show called Rise.
Okay.
Which is Jason Tatum's new show that'll start airing in March.
What's that going to be on?
That's kind of exciting.
What channel is that going to be on, and what's it about?
That's going to be on NBC. It's completely different, a little bit out of my wheelhouse. Although, you know, I guess I did a lot of episodes of The Good Wife, and this is different than that. This is starring Ali Claudio, who is Moana, the lead in Moana.
Okay.
Rosie Perez is in it. Josh Radnor is in it. It's a true story based on a teacher in Pennsylvania who was an English teacher who took over the theater department, and then he started doing very provocative plays. Like, he didn't want to do Grease and Little Shop of Horrors. He wanted to do Spring Awakening and, you know, very, again, provocative and thought-provoking and things that really pissed off the administrators of the schools, the community, the parents. So there's a lot of conflict there. So, you know, it's a very working-class story about the importance of art.
A lot less gunplay in this one, though, huh?
A lot less gunplay. Although there is, like, you know, there's little stuff that happens where I'm like, wait, can we do this? And then, you know, the creator of the show is like, yeah, okay, you can do that. So we get to play and crash things here and there. You know, you'd be surprised. You always work that stuff in somehow.
No, I mean, you've got me hooked. I'm definitely going to be watching it when it comes on.
We've got to give that a look-see. There's no doubt. There's no doubt.
Yeah, it's you know, it's again, it's like, it's characters that are not black and white, and it's characters that I'm interested in working class people. I just am. So, you know, that includes a large number of people in the world that sometimes just don't get represented.
Completely understand that. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
Well, last thing I'll ask about, just to sneak in, is there any chance there's a confirmation we already know you're going to be doing a Walking Dead episode again soon?
Oh, not this season.
Oh, bummer.
I know.
Because, you know, the bottom line is that if you're in the episode, we're expecting badassness. And so it's kind of a Debbie Downer right now. I'm not going to put it out there.
I hear you. Don't put it out there. But you know what? It's like I'm going to hope for the best, just like I did this season, and hope that there's a next season and that I'm there. And, you know, I'm going to be watching like everybody else, just rooting for all these amazing characters. And, you know, I can't say I want Negan to die, because I kind of don't. But who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, if Kirkman does any of his usual remixes, there's no telling where this goes. So,
but if there is a season 9,
if
there's a season 9, I don't see how you don't get another episode, because you've knocked both of yours out of the park.
Yeah, there's no.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, it's great to be working, right? And it's just so great to be working. So sometimes that just gets in the way too. But you know, I like bouncing around all over the place. It's all good.
Well.
And I hope another movie comes soon. That's what I'm hoping, is a big action movie. That's my next dream.
Well, I can tell you, I think you've got the teeth for it based on what we've seen. So,
sounds good.
We will be helping push that and look forward to that opportunity. There's no doubt.
Thank you so much, guys, and thank you for including me and talking to me, and thanks for what you do. I think you're awesome. Thank you so much.
It's more like we really
I think we're thanking you
for
everything, for taking the time out of your schedule.
To give us, 15, 20 minutes of your life, and to let people know, some of the things about the show and what you do, and how directing is possible for anybody, and how you are an example of accomplishing goals with either harder challenges. I think you are exemplary in all those things, and just getting to talk to you, has made my day, our week, our guys, our podcast, the whole 9 yards. And so, sincere from BleedTV, really appreciate you.
If I can do it, anyone can. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rosemary. And we, hopefully, I'm going to put you on the hook again for the next time you have another Walking Dead episode or another one we pod. We're going to get you back on, okay?
Sounds good. I'll be there.
Thank you so much. We're going to call it a night. This is BleedTV, and I'm Zach.
I'm Jake.
And I'm Cash.
We'll see y'all next week.